Hey, good day to you. This is Todd. I am a regular dude walking in the Word. We're on episode 48, but it's actually session 2 of chapter 16 of Genesis. We're spending 4 sessions on chapter 16 because there's 4 lessons I want us to look at here. The first one we talked about yesterday was operating outside of God's will. Okay, when we do that, it doesn't go well. Okay, God has all knowledge about what the future holds for us. And when we operate outside of His will, disaster is waiting for us. Today I want us to look at not trusting God. And that's where we can see a whole lot of disaster happening when we don't trust God. Before we even get into chapter 16, though, you go back to when Abram went to Egypt, and he wasn't supposed to be going to Egypt. That was not in God's will. He wasn't trusting in God at all, okay? So when he's not trusting in God like that, he just takes matters into his own hands. And he's like, there was a famine, okay? And God didn't give him directions about, you do this during the famine, okay? But he needed to trust God to take care of him. But he did not, and he went to Egypt and trusted Egypt to take care of him. Remember, Egypt represents the world. So he turned back to the world to take care of him, not to God. Let's read chapter 16. Now Sarai, Abram's wife, had borne him no children, but she had an Egyptian slave named Hagar. So she said to Abram, "The Lord has kept me from having children. Go sleep with my slave. Perhaps I can build a family through hers." Okay, example here. I'm not trusting God. I'm trusting in my own knowledge. Abram agreed to what Sarah said. So after Abram had been living in Canaan 10 years, Sarah, his wife, took her Egyptian slave Hagar and gave her to her husband to be his wife. He slept with Hagar, and she conceived. When she knew she was pregnant, she began to despise her mistress. Then Sarah said to Abram, "You are responsible for the wrong I am suffering. I put my slave in your arms, and now that she knows she is pregnant, she despises me. May the Lord judge between you and me. Your slave is in your hands," Abram said. "Do with her whatever you think is best." Then Sarai mistreated Hagar, so she fled from her. The angel of the Lord found Hagar near the spring in the desert, and it is the spring that is beside the road to Shur. And he said, "Hagar, slave of Sarai, where are you going, and where are you coming from?" "I'm running away from my mistress, Sarai," she answered. Then the angel of the Lord told her, "Go back to your mistress and submit to her." The angel of the Lord added, "I will increase the descendants so much that they will be too numerous to count." And then it goes further to what the angel also said about Ishmael, who was going to be born. I'm going to close with reading just verse 15. Verse 15 said, "So Hagar bore Abram a son, and Abram gave the name Ishmael to the son she had born. Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore him Ishmael." This is an example of Abram not trusting God. Okay, God had promised that he would have descendants, but he was going to take matters into his own hands because he wasn't trusting in God. He was 86 years old and oh no, the time is ticking away. I can't trust God anymore. And there comes a point sometimes with each of us when it's easy for us to trust God through certain things, but then as time goes further along, you're like, oh no, maybe God's not going to come through. And that's what Abram was feeling like, oh no, God made this promise to me, but maybe he can't keep his promise. And so he wasn't trusting in God. And there came a threshold, a point where he quit trusting God, and he was trusting himself more than God. And we need to watch out for that in our lives. Are we daily trusting God, or are we trusting in ourselves? Okay, so watch out for that in your life. Make sure you are trusting God and not trusting in yourself above God. All right, thanks for watching. I'm a regular dude walking in the Word, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow as we continue going through Genesis 16. Lord's blessing. I'll see you then.